It has come to this, 5 episodes in, and we're ready to get savage, folks. I have a slew of great gems for you today that should shift your focus from that prehistoric PS4 sitting on your shelves to the enhancement that PS5 offers with some of its selections. As much as I enjoyed neglecting my personal life to kick these out for you, I still am influenced by your likes, feedback, and subscription response to the time I put in on these, so give an ugly duckling a chance, will you? Now, let's get grisly and disembowel another set of 5 staggeringly handsome titles. Is there a game title that you just leave staring back at you on your shelf saying, "I'll get to you, little one," and instead keep changing course to the next big AAA playthrough? For me, it was this unfortunate compilation of 2 games that fell victim to that reality, but when I gave them some attention, I was articulating my knee in a manner that I could kick my own ass for doing so. Released July 7th of 2022, the same team behind Katamari put together a choice 3D action side-scrolling platformer that marks the 25th anniversary of the first title. Behind the development was of course Monkeycraft, and Bandai Namco took on the role of publisher. These are remasters of the first games on PS1 and the second stemming from PS2. Now, you could only pay around $30 for this if you'd like, or fork out around $300 on PS1 for the first title called Door to Phantomile, or around $30 just for the second one, called Lunatea's Veil, on PS2. I'd call it Common Sense 101 to buy this one. Now, let's shake out a review. Some of the many platformers out there don't know how to pace themselves so as not to become tedious or predictable, but Klonoa is the perfect blend of frosting that complements the cake. I kept seeing the love child of Mickey and Sonic as I hopped around the well-constructed levels, and I always look forward to boss encounters that were well executed. A few extras include new difficulty options and a 2-player support mode, along with the obvious sprite upgrade from the original first title. Progression can be fast and furious, but unfortunately Vin Diesel or Paul Walker don't make any guest appearances, so sorry ladies. Between the 2 games, I think I like the first one better, but as a whole, I give this set a 7.5 out of 10, and a pat on the back to the team who remastered it. This game begs the question, is this the last F I give for a Dark Souls-like Metroidvania? Or do I have faith this will prevail where others have failed? I was intrigued enough to get the Nycrux edition, which includes a couple extras, like an original soundtrack on CD, some postcards, and an art book, which I'll flip through a little now to give you an idea. I do like the simple presentation here and enjoy it getting right to the point. So this is a nice little addition, and it doesn't cost much more to go with this version of extras. This was released physically on November 15th of 2023, and here we have a developer named Kumi Souls, which gives me hope they may have a distinct interest in nailing this genre of games. As publisher, we're looking at PlayStack in charge of getting this one kickstarted, and looky here, they've decided that dark and gothic was the way to sell another fairly punishing side-scroller. No surprises, I guess, after titles did so well like Castlevania, Blasphemous, Salt and Sanctuary, or Moonscars riddle the gaming world. But did it mix things up enough to blend in? Or did it stand out for its extra attention to variety and atmosphere? Let's see if it's the last F I truly give. Right out of the decrepit gate, this does feel like all of the aforementioned games that I've played in tone and in gameplay. However, more than a few hours in, I did take notice of how its design and upgrade system quells the frustration that some of the other titles don't exactly nail. Its similarities are probably most likened to Castlevania with a Bloodborne-ish feel. As great as that sounds, it's really not a dip into your child's college fund to purchase, but rather a skip a nice dinner for yourself and splurge a little to add a quarter-inch space in your game collection. One of the standouts is the weapon selection and ways in which to tear apart your foes. This kept me wanting to use different builds and see the pixel art animations of sweet, sweet death. Also, the enemy variety was done fairly well and typically brought you new ugly enemy treats to devour. If I have one glaring annoyance, it's that the 4 classes offered in the beginning of the game truly only give you attribute stats that could favor guns or magic, but they still give you a sword to start with, so no matter what you choose, it doesn't matter. So what the hell's the point? Not the end of the world, but not a good starting point for sure. Despite this, there are a few bad things to consider, and ultimately this game stands out as a good insert in your library. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. The fact that we even got a remaster of this game was like finding an Indian with a star on my Tootsie Roll Pop wrapper back in the day, when one of my neighbors would give out free suckers to any child who could find one and bring her that wrapper. Funny the things we remember as kids. Now that I'm all growed up, my mind has strafed to other interests that Lollipop Chainsaw has compensated for. Some could argue that I'm still childish, or at least adolescent, by being entertained by such raunchy selections, but there are things I feel like you need to embrace with your manhood and accept that this filth is just a part of growing up. So on September 12th of 2024, Dragami Games published and developed this little slice of hack-and-slash PS3 history, and my 47-year-old loins still haven't recovered from the news. What's more is that well-known movie producer James Gunn contributed to its characters and story. So let's see how it fared, shall we? It's literally been 10 plus years since I played this, so revisiting it was a treat, kind of like a lollipop after a dental appointment. I remember it being edgy when it was first released, and I guess it still is, but I think even with the graphics enhancement and smoother mechanics, it feels a bit dated. Kind of like House of the Dead dated, with its on-rail moments. It lacks some of the original music tracks also, and what's up with hearts and particle effects in place of tried and true blood splatter? I guess the old adage holds true that if it's not broke... Anywho, at least the original mode is offered, and that is probably the best part. I'm not saying I didn't have a ball lopping off the appendages and heads of the filth-ridden zombies, but maybe I've come to a crossroad where I just expect a little more out of my games. The zany humor still feels well-placed in a game that eviscerates taking itself seriously, so the mindless button mashing always seems well rewarded from the cutscenes or Rainbow Bright motifs. And now we've come to the part where I need to give you a score. Upon my revisit to Repop, the novelty it once held has dwindled slightly, but I'm fully aware of what this game is and what it was catering to. I may have dropped my overall score of this game from an 8 it once held, but I feel justified in doing so, even when a remaster couldn't keep it as fresh as I hoped. I'll give Juliet's revisit to Zombie Slaying a 7.5 out of 10. If you really want a fresh title that impresses and digs into your will to keep playing, you have just been handed it on a neon white platter. Score chasers and parkour enthusiasts may have just struck gold if you happen to be watching. Throw away your copies of Mirror's Edge, because they don't hold a scented candle to the likes of this one. Released on June 16th of 2024, a very fresh-feeling first-person puzzle platformer with shooting and hacking abilities brightly exploded on the gaming scene. This was developed by Angel Matrix and published by Annapurna. As an assassin from hell, you will dash your way through countless levels for a chance at returning to heaven as you compete against other demon slayers at breakneck speeds. Sold yet? This game is a must-play and constructed in a manner to keep you superglued to score-based completion. Let's sprint toward a review. One of the coolest games I played last year, and perhaps contender for the best I played in 2024, is now on display for anyone who loves fast-paced titles that don't punish you as brutally as games like Ghost Runner 1 or 2. This game has found the secret ingredient needed to transcend the blandness that so many other games try to pass off as flavorful. Through the course of 10 in-game days, you will traverse levels that consist of sprinting, shortcuts, hidden items, card deck building for dashes, double jumps, weapon options, and explosions, all timed to an addictive rhythm that you feel in your demon soul. As you glide through the levels, you will get the sensation that gravity doesn't work the same, and that black balloon demons are a pleasure to pop as you ascend to higher heights. The overwhelming sense of freedom takes you over when you realize you can approach the levels with various technique and path manipulation. You feel godlike, stringing together combos while ridding the stage of black demons that not only starkly offend the eye in a vivid landscape, but impede your progress also. Amidst all the chaos, however, there is a grace that can be felt as your movements become choreographed into a symphony fit for a devil. I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. Killing is my business, and business is good. Say hello to my little friend. Or, I like the way you die, boy. Take your pick, because no matter what whacked-out name they choose, the tone is set to murder on tap. Otxo translates to wolf from the isolate Basque language in northern Spain and France. This title was released July 25th, 2024, and is limited to 1,000 copies from Super Rare Games. Developed by Lateralis Heavy Industries and published by Super Rare Originals, this is a top-down, twin-stick, black, white, and red roguelike. Presentation is top-notch, and the color format really works for this game. Its inspirations are worn on its sleeve, harkening from John Wick to Hotline Miami. But enough about the logistics. We're here for some pixelated human hunting with a dash of slow-mo, so let's get this purge initiated. A simplistic premise. Run and gun through a mansion to save your lady friend. Hey, it worked for Mario. But in Otxo, you won't even have time for the blood to coagulate before you're moving into the next room and door-busting your way into glorious retribution. The game moves fast as fudge, so the slow motion camera that zooms in on the action is essential, but don't get greedy in your bloodlust because it's on a timer that reloads after you turn someone's guts inside out. I found that after about 5 to 8 rooms deep, I was improving considerably faster and remembering what button presses do. Along with excellent gunplay, the sound design, and upgrade system, I was immediately past a good score in my rating system within about 10 minutes. It's an easy recommend, but it will set you back around the $80 range if you get it physically, so do consider the $16 price tag if you want to go digital. I'll settle on a 7.5 out of 10 for this gem. I hope that these 5 games have sparked your interest within the realm of hidden gems so that you can better spend those game budget funds. It's like I'm literally taking one for the team every time I buy and test out indie titles, so if you pay attention to my scores and impressions, you should be well equipped to erect an impressive game shelf. Also, if you have something profound that I haven't stumbled across yet, be sure to light up my comments section. I'll break the bank just to get a dime around here. Thanks for being the reason I keep the lights on, and I'll see you for Volume 6. Cheers.